It's your boy Yule.
I'm Margaret.
And this is Can We Talk About It?
And today we're coming to you with a review of part 1, season 4 of You. Today we're coming to you with the whoa, didn't like that.
Well, you're already doing the Joe Goldberg inside voice already.
Yes.
First 3
you.
seconds of the episode.
So let's talk about it, okay? So this season, we find Joe, not in France, as the little preview we got from the last season suggested, but instead in jolly old London town, where he is a professor named Jonathan Moore, okay? An English professor, fittingly, right? Okay. And it actually seems like a lifestyle that he was always pretty well suited for, but of course it's Joe, so trouble eventually finds him. He's in with a new wealthy group of friends, as he usually is, and slowly they start getting murdered. But this time, he's not the one doing the killing.
Yeah. That was spot on. I like that,
right?
intro.
And this is a review with spoilers. So,
spoiler alert. We're definitely running through everything. And we're going to do, we're going to actually do some fan fiction, or fan theories. Yeah. So we're really going to just kind of guess what's going to happen next, because this is part 1 and there's a part 2 coming up in just a month. So let's see. I think we had some good theories, but people online had some awesome ones.
Word.
So we'll break those down as well. But let's start with how we feel about Joe this season.
So something really interesting is happening with Joe, where he's almost going through like a redemption arc, right? He isn't really killing as many people. He only really does it like when it seems like he absolutely has to. I think he only kills the bodyguard, right?
Yes. Who found out about him? Yeah. And
right, and kind of was gonna get him in trouble or kill him or like whatever, right? So other than that, though, he's just coming across people's bodies. He's also kind of like trying to protect other people from being murdered, even though they don't really deserve that protection. So he's fallen in with this really like snobby group of rich people who are just like part of British aristocracy and are very like rude to him and just kind of in general like deplorable people. And he's trying to protect them from being murdered because they're the ones being, picked off by this killer that's been dubbed the Eat the Rich killer, right? And he also has an opportunity in the last episode of this batch, episode 5, to kill or at least allow this guy Rold, who's really despicable and almost kills him, to die in a fire. But instead, he saves Rold, right? So This is almost like we're seeing like this new side of Joe, and he's not fixated and obsessed with a woman. He's fixated and obsessed with another serial killer who he wants to take down, right? So it's this weird kind of like, are we seeing Joe redeemed? But we'll talk about it later, but that's why I don't think that can be, right?
Yeah, I think the redemption arc of Joe is interesting, right? Because we've seen enough of Joe to not trust him, right? It's like, okay, we're only getting Joe's side of the story here, and we're also seeing him like become this different kind of person. But as we know, we probably shouldn't trust that, right? As far as Joe knows, he's a knight in shining armor, and he can do no wrong.
Right.
Right, and we've seen him kill one person for certain, but everything else is kind of up in the air. So I feel like Joe this season, right, is, it's all kind of based around Marianne, right? His love interest from the last season. He's trying to prove himself to her, and it's kind of string on this line where like, oh yeah, like I am noble and I'm doing these things for noble reasons, right? Or I'm even like, trying to help find who this other murderer is, because it's a holier than thou kind of mentality,
right?
But he's also like, all right, I'm doing good this season, like just to prove that I'm not the person that she thinks I am.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do I like Joe this season? Kinda. It makes it interesting, right? I don't like Joe as a person, right? I'm talking about Joe's character in general,
right?
I think the way that they set it up this season for Joe to kind of succeed, right, or kind of like turn over a new leaf. Clearly, he's not gonna. Let's like not be delusional here, right? I don't know what's gonna happen in the next 5 episodes that are gonna come up, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna reveal that it's gonna reveal that Joe is still Joe,
right?
Right? Yeah. How they say like, oh, some people never change. That's Joe to a T, right?
The expression goes, once a serial killer, always a serial killer.
Word, right? If he really wanted to turn over a new leaf, he probably wouldn't be a new person in a new country by now.
Like, he would turn himself in.
Yeah, he would atone for his sins, but he will never do that.
Right. Okay. So that's how we feel about Joe. So we are also introduced to a whole cast of like new characters as we are every season, the new people surrounding Joe, the ancillary characters. Do you have a favorite new character?
I lean towards Lady Phoebe.
Okay.
Just because she seems like naive, but naive enough that she could also be like sinister.
I get you.
Right?
Okay.
I like
That's
how
interesting.
this has been like a whodunit murder mystery type of vibe, which I kind of love.
I do like the whodunit aspect.
Yeah, yeah. And like I usually like whodunits. Like, and it's great that they actually took a twist from the normal like format, right? Because we want to see something new. We want to see something fresh,
Right.
And
We don't want to see the same plot.
She's been a really cool character because like she's been like accepting of Joe. She's like she kind of like just the one that brings everybody together, or she's like friends with everybody. It's like she's really cool in that aspect. But I'm also interested in what her conversation with Joe was that made her trust him so much.
Right.
So,
I
like,
wonder if we're ever gonna find that out. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I kind of like am invested in that. That's what makes me kind of like her. Like I don't want her if she dies before I figure that out, I'd be like, no, what happened? What was it?
Right.
But yeah, I would say her. So who would you say are your favorite characters?
I honestly feel like I don't like anybody at all this season. And I mean that in the sense of like usually you at least have some characters that like you love to hate. And I don't feel that that's the case for me this time. I don't feel like these characters are as fleshed out as other past side characters have been. They don't have like any interesting like quirky qualities to me. They're just assholes. So it's kind of like I'm just like, all right, I'm ready for them to just get whacked off so that they can stop being on my screen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and like I said, I think the part of it that doesn't let them get fleshed out like that is the murder mystery part, right?
Right.
You don't want to know too much about them because then it kind of just ruins the mystery. Like, oh yeah, this dude's definitely an asshole. Of course, he'll be the killer, like that kind of thing. I think they're just kind of made to be aloof side characters.
yeah.
They're also it's not even also that important. To be real, like I don't
It's true. But even like the love interest, like Kate, I'm like, okay, we're supposed to think she's so different and admirable from the rest of them. If you're letting your friend hit a croquet ball through a man's body, then you're not, some great champion of the underclass and the poor. Like, you're also an asshole. You're a bystander, right? So I just don't like any of them, even the ones that I think I'm supposed to like. But maybe I'm not supposed to like them. Maybe it's just you playing mind tricks on me, right? Ooh, right? But yeah.
I like that. Well, so this one's gonna be easy for you. Who did you hate the most? Least favorite character?
Boy. But I will tell you, okay, if I have to pick a favorite, it's Malcolm.
Okay.
Just because he seemed like he was a fun time. But
wow, because his untimely demise made him like more
I guess I didn't have time to hate him. I was just like, oh, he's like a randy fellow, and then he died. Yeah, dude. My least favorite character, probably if I had to pick, I don't even remember what her name was. That the last woman that got killed.
Oh,
Gemma.
Yes,
Gemma.
Gemma.
Yeah, I didn't like Gemma.
I didn't like Gemma either.
Yeah, I was like, well, I like almost wanted Gemma to get killed off closer to the end because I thought it would just be satisfying. But I wasn't mad that she got killed off in general.
That's crazy because the person I hate is also someone that got killed off, and that's Simon Sue.
He was also pretty trash. Yeah.
I feel like he had some of the most character development, and it's only because his whole character persona was.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm better than all of you.
Yeah.
Who is this peasant?
That's very true.
That's his whole
Yeah.
character. And it was like, all right, cool, that's fleshed out. Kill him.
Yeah. Gemma was similar, right? They were the ones that were like the most sneering, like the most like, besides like Roald, who like Roald also had like a little more development because he also had like his own Joe Goldberg aspect going on. He just didn't do it as well, you know what I mean? Like murderous tendencies, stalker quality. But I also didn't like him. I didn't even like to hate him. So, yeah.
So, do we like Reese as a villain?
So, I'll tell you, so far at this point in the story, if Reese is the villain, right? No, I don't like it because I predicted it from literally the moment that Joe started getting those messages and was like, oh my God, it's someone from the group. I was like, I feel like it's Reese because he is, besides Joe, the outsider in the group. He's the only one that kind of exists on the margins of that society. So to me, he was the obvious choice for the killer.
Yeah, yeah. And I see where you're going with it because I kind of thought that too, but I thought it was almost too obvious.
Right.
Yeah, like everybody else was like, why would they even be as invested in Joe?
Yeah.
Like, it was just a weird pick.
Yeah.
Right? Like they could. I feel like if we were to pick somebody else and like rewrote it as them as the villain, it probably would be more fun and more exciting.
Exactly. Yeah.
If
just
I
hire
if you
us.
could repick, who would you pick? Who would it be?
Oh boy, that's tough.
I'm going with Lady Phoebe just because she's my favorite, and also
You think
he had that weird conversation with her,
right? And we don't know what was said.
Too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have went with her.
If they
in
had
conjunction with her boyfriend.
Okay. If in a past season we hadn't already had oh my god, the girl he's in love with is the killer, Kate would be a good one.
Yeah.
But they already
Kate
did
is
that.
Interesting because she doesn't really have much personality, but that's her personality. Like she's just like deadpan.
Yeah. I think it's just supposed to be British.
But do you think it was predictable?
British.
You said you think it was predictable that Reese was the villain, though.
Predictable. Yeah, that wasn't
we're
even
not.
British. Yeah, I thought it was predictable. I did. Just because, like, who else would it be? Who else would have the motivation and the quote-unquote resentment, if you will, towards these people, aka being able to see them for the terrible human beings that they are? They don't see that in each other.
True.
Except maybe Kate, right? But I even, like, no.
I think one of the theories that I was going with before I knew Reese was the killers that, they're all like that socialite, high status type of person, and they would like kind of just be either jealous of each other or like just wanted to get rid of each other at this point. We don't know the past dramas of this group, that kind of thing.
That's true.
It could have like popped up
Would
as
unfold,
like, oh
yeah,
like I hated this person or I hated all of you and I infiltrated this group,
right?
Because, like that kind of thing. But
I get that. Yeah. Okay.
What we predict will happen next?
Well, let's talk. Well, do we want to talk to fan theories or just
let's
okay?
do that.
Let's talk some fan theories because that might give us some insight into what might happen next.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do we think is going on here? It can't be, so black and white. It can't just be.
Yeah, it's never black and white.
Right. Reese is the killer and that's that, right? So, is he working with somebody else? Is this somebody from Joe's past who's involved? Could Love be back from the dead and somehow cooperating with Reese or?
Yeah, so as we see in the trailer for the second half of season 4, Love is alive, or she's sitting in a chair.
Right.
Right? And so a lot of people are thinking maybe that's a flashback, maybe they're working together,
yeah.
right? Also, I think it would be a bad way to kind of like reveal that, right? I feel like that's more something that you just leave as a surprise.
Yeah.
In season.
Right.
In part
not
2.
put it in the trailer.
Not put it in the trailer, right? So
yeah.
It's interesting, and I think that's kind of just like misdirection.
Exactly.
But it could be interesting, right? So we're still in this realm where everyone's a rich socialite, right? And as we know, Love's family was in the money.
That's facts.
Right? So they could definitely have connections out there. They definitely had someone looking for Joe because they knew he was alive. And
right.
Who else would know he's alive?
That's very true. Yes, that's actually very true. I think there's a few reasons they wouldn't do it. Like you said, showing it in the trailer is kind of like too big of a spoiler. Also, remember, he used to have those flashbacks of Beck at the beginning of season 2. So it could just be like him, not even flashbacks, like he imagined that she was there talking to him.
Yes.
Right? So I was thinking it could be something like that. Then there's also the fact that like they kind of did that. They had the whole she's not actually dead thing with Candace. So I just don't see them doing that again for the same reason I didn't see them making Kate the killer. They've just done it, and I don't think that they're going to recycle it again.
For sure. I think the only reason they would recycle it is because Love, remember, is the mirror image of Joe. So
That's true.
She's his perfect villain.
That's true.
She's the only one that could beat him at his own
match.
game,
yeah.
Right? So I think that would be, the pull in actually reviving her or saying that she didn't actually die.
That's true. I could see that. Yeah. The other option, the other person who definitely knows he's alive, Marianne.
That'd be a sleeper pick, right?
Right? Yeah. I don't think Marianne is involved in any of the killing. Do you think that she is?
That's a good question. It could be. But like, well, what would be her like ultimate motivation? Like, she's just trying to get away from Joe. Like that's the reason she like moved to a whole nother country.
Right.
Right. So now why like chase after him now? Is it because like, she met up with him again?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, now I have to like beat him at his own game. Like
Right.
what's like her motivation? I don't. If she is, that'd be a cool plot twist, I guess. But
they would really have to justify it.
They would have to justify it very well. I mean, protect her daughter. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I don't like it. I don't like that one.
No, me neither. So some people think maybe somehow like one of the kids that fell under Joe's wing in the past, maybe something involving Ellie, something involving that kid Pablo from season 1. I honestly think that the things with his brother. Sometimes I think some of these things are just going to be like, if it doesn't continue after this season, just sort of like unsolved threads. Like, we're not going to ever find out what happened to Ellie. We aren't going to find out what happened to Pablo, his brother, or his son. But we might. It can't be all of them, right? So something's going to maybe be an unfinished thread.
Yeah.
So sure. of those 4, brother, son, obviously his son's not involved in the murdering because he's like 1. Ellie or Pablo, do any of them come into play with what's going on?
If it had to be anyone, I would hope it's Ellie. Just because she has some revenge on her mind anyway, right?
Right.
And already knew who he was, right? And she's like he's not getting away that easy,
right?
That kind of thing. So I would hope it'd be Ellie. Yeah, that's my choice. About you?
I would go maybe with the brother, but it's just like too far fetched. And I would assume maybe his brother doesn't even know he exists. So yeah, I could see. I think that Ellie would also make sense because she has the motivation. She kind of has like the wits about her, and she has like that personality where I could see her sort of like plotting to take him down. But I don't think it is Ellie. I don't think any of those people really come back into play.
Yeah. Also, she doesn't have the money to travel and try to find him.
Right, because he stopped
him down.
financing her because he's supposed to be dead.
Also, yeah, I don't think she's in a position to kill a lot of those people.
No, it's true. Yeah. So probably none. We don't think those. Okay. No. So there's also a very popular theory going around online that Reese is a real person who is running for mayor, but he's not actually in that friend group. And that basically when Joe read his biography, his autobiography at the beginning, he just became kind of fixated on him and started to sort of imagine that they had a friendship, almost like a Fight Club sort of thing going on. And that Joe is the one killing these people, but he just either has such a guilty conscience or so badly wants to be like this new man for Marianne that he's now just pretending that someone else is the killer. And that he's, the good man hunting this person down. The knight in shining armor, right?
I actually really
love
this.
The knight in shining armor. Right, okay.
No, but I love this one.
Yeah,
I think
it's a good theory.
The most thought out theory. And I think in addition to that, they were saying that we've never seen Reese talk to anyone else.
Yeah.
Right? All of their conversations have been one-on-one conversations. So it would be like, in Joe's mind, a great justification to be like, oh, that he's really the villain. I'm not doing this. He's doing this. Right. To keep himself on that holier-than-thou status. Yeah. I think this is a great one. I think this is probably, of all the fan theories I've seen, the most spot on.
And then isn't it crazy, like, when they come home from, like, the country house, having almost been killed and burned alive, and Roald wakes up in the basement with him and Joe both, like, down there. He's not like, who did this to us? At any point after that, nobody else seems to know that Reese was involved in this, right? Yes. Only Joe seems to know. So it's like, they didn't ask Joe any questions?
Yeah, and Joe wasn't like, it was Reese.
Right. And all these powerful people couldn't have taken Reese down together. Like, it just seems weird. Something is off there. Yeah,
I think, and again, as a justification for that, they're like, oh, he knows too much about Joe. Like, he doesn't want to put himself out there. And I guess Joe would be like, who are you going to believe, me or him? Yeah. Because he, again, is in a great position to be like, I'm perfect. Like, no blood on my hands. Mm-hmm. Well, I like this one. I hope it is this one.
I hope it is this one.
This would turn out to be a great twist for the last 5 episodes.
It would be. And it would really, I think, play into the fact that, this is not a redemption arc, right? This story is not Joe's redemption.
Yes.
It's just Joe being extra Joe.
Right. Oh, I had another fan theory. My theory was that some of the rich people are in on it together. I feel like it's a multiple person operation.
Mm-hmm.
And what led me to that is that, first off, they're just too nonchalant about so many things.
Right.
People are literally dying left and right. And they were like, oh, just send the security away.
Right.
What?
Right.
How is that your first thought? Like, oh, people are dying around us. Let's clear it out. Let's just leave people that could possibly be murdering me around.
No, facts.
Right? They had a gun to Joe's back at one point, right?
And everybody's just like,
And
oh.
everyone's like, oh, wow, he might get his head blown off.
Yeah.
And the dude, like, falls asleep on the couch. Like, this is
Right.
just everyday run-of-the-mill things.
Bored. Not even entertained, like, in a sadistic way. Just bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, they seem like the type of rich people to be like, okay, we're doing the annual hunt. And they send somebody off into the woods. And
Right.
Like, shoot.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, yeah, this is fine. This is normal.
Yeah.
So I think, like, it could be a combination of them working together. If Reese isn't a figment of his imagination, he could definitely be part of that grouping of people. And
yes.
Joe could have been brought in because they knew who he was, and he's a good scapegoat for a lot of
the things that they have going on. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So those are the fan theories. And I guess just in terms of, like, any other predictions going forward, do we think Love is still alive? I say no. What do you think?
I also say no.
Okay.
It's too obvious.
Yeah.
Right? And they, again, if they're leading you to something, they probably are go in the opposite direction.
Very true.
That's how this usually goes.
And we do briefly see Marianne, right? He does run into her, and then she runs away from him. Do we think that's the last that we're going to see of her again this season?
No. We're definitely going to see more of Marianne, for sure. Like,
right.
yes, that chapter has to close one way or the other. Whether
right.
that's, like, she has to die, or he has to, like,
I think
he has to, like, really be hurt by her to the point where, she's no longer his obsession. Yeah. I think that's really the reason that he can't move on with
Kate. Because he's still stuck on Marianne.
Exactly, because he can only have, like, one love interest.
Right.
That's why he has to move on to Reese, who is his male interest.
Right. That's interesting. I think that's true as well. And I think it's going to end up being a critical error for Joe that he did not kill Marianne. Because I think she's going to kind of, if he gets taken down this season or apprehended in some way, finally, I think Marianne will have something to do with it. I don't think she's involved in the killing, and I don't think she's going to kill anyone, and I don't think she's going to die. But I think that if Joe gets taken down, Marianne will be the one responsible for that.
Interesting.
To kind of expose him.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Can I change my mind about Love being alive?
I mean, I guess.
I think just because of what we said before, with, like, her bodyguard going to, like, try to find him. Like, who puts that much time and effort into someone fleeing the country when you don't even think they're alive?
So do you think that Love just wanted confirmation that he was alive so she could then, like, come get him herself?
No, I think she knew he was alive because she obviously he left her in the fire to die.
Right.
I think she sent the bodyguard to find him first.
Okay.
And then give him the new identity so she knew exactly who he was, so that she can then trace him for the rest of his going.
That would be super interesting.
So I think they have tabs on him now.
Fascinating. All right. I don't think she's alive, but I do like that theory. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we will be eagerly awaiting the second half of this new season of You, and then we will come back to give you a little wrap-up review
of how wrong we were.
Yes.
Of how absolutely far off we were. Or spot on.
Or spot on.
All right, well, we'll see.
You never know.
This has been Can We Talk About It? We'll catch y'all next time.
Cheerio.